Welcome into the show. This is the Turn Fantasy Golf Podcast. My name is Andrew Putters, and today we got a good show for you. We're going to recap the Sanderson Farms Championship from last week. We're going to head into the Shriners Hospital Championship for next week, or this coming week in Las Vegas. We got a great field on hand, and as always, if you like what you hear, hit the like, hit the subscribe, share with your friends. And the Turn is brought to you by Rotoballer.com. Go there for all your daily fantasy needs. Stick tuned.
Of all the games I used to play in my younger, wilder days, the game of clubs and tees had never crossed my mind. But after some discussion with my closest...
All right, like I said, my name is Andrew Putters. I'm here with my buddy Joe Nicely. There he is, Joe Nicely from Rotoballer, my co-host, senior editor of golf for Rotoballer.com. What you got going on at Rotoballer, Joe?
Hey, Andrew. Good to see you, man. Got some great stuff over at Rotoballer, like always. Got an amazing course breakdown over there that Josh Bennett does. We got Spencer doing the Vegas report. He just recently hit Bryson DeChambeau at the U.S. Open. Tommy Bell's got some great value plays, and you can check out my Core 4 every week. That's part of our premium lineup. You can use promo code NICE, N-I-C-E, when you sign up for a discount. And we also have tons of free stuff over there. So definitely encourage you to go check it out.
Absolutely. I am a proud member of Rotoballer's golf premium package. It helps me out every week, break down the players, learned a little bit about the golf course, who the guys are liking out west. So let's just get right into it. We got a good field this week, so let's go ahead and let's recap the Sanderson Farms Championship. Sergio from out of nowhere. The man that you love to hate. I'm up and down on him from time to time. I don't know what it is. I watched the interview with him on the Golf Channel a few years back with Faraday, and I fell in love with him. But then you watch him on the course, and he's really hard to like. But there's no doubt he's got a lot of game. And this week he went a little unorthodox, putted with his eyes closed. And, this kind of didn't come on to like Saturday when they started talking about it. So what did you get from it? Was he putting all the time with his eyes closed or just like on 15 footers in the end? Do you know, Joe?
I think it's pretty much every time, every putt. He would go through his practice motions, his practice routine, lining up putts, making practice strokes, looking at the hole, all with his eyes open. And then when he put his putter right behind the ball, he would close his eyes just before he stroked the putt. And it really worked well for him, man. It's the most putts I've definitely seen him make, probably ever. But it's something that maybe should have tried starting 20 years ago. Maybe he'd have a couple more majors if he would have done that. But yeah, man. Generally, it's a pretty good rule of thumb. If Sergio wins, it's not going to be a great week for me. The last 3-4 years I've been off him. Kind of have mixed feelings about him, like you said. I think he's a pretty petulant dude. We've seen him do some really childish things over the years, but he's undeniably talented. And if we take Tiger Woods out of the equation, you could make the argument he's the best ball striker of his generation. He's been amazing off the tee for years, an amazing iron player for years, but the issue's always been putting and his short game. So every now and then he's going to put things together in that area and win some golf tournaments. He's won 11 times on the PGA Tour. Obviously a great player, Hall of Fame top player. So, nothing but respect for him, but it's not going to be a great DFS week for me when Sergio wins, more than likely.
Yeah, and it's hard if you look talent-wise or what he can actually do, or actually his stat lines in general, it's like, golly, every week I should be playing this guy, but it's almost like his emotions sometimes gets the best of him. He shot 19 under to win, came in with 2 incredible shots on the win, 14 or 15 the par 5. He hits a wood into the green from like 280 to like a foot. Great couple of bounces, hit right in front of the bunker, bounced through the rough into the fringe and rolled up there about a foot.
Unbelievable shot, man. I saw that one live. It's just one of those things that very few, even professional golfers, just kind of shake their head when they see a guy hit a shot like that. It's something that even very few of those guys are capable of doing. And Sergio is one of the few guys that can do something like that, and it was an unbelievable shot. The one on 18 as well.
Yeah. So then, yeah, as we'll say, down 2 makes the eagle there on 14 or 15. Comes to 18, tied with East Tennessee native Peter Malinotti, who's been done for a couple of hours, who's hanging out with his little toddler and his wife over there having a picnic and getting warmed up to hit balls to go out for a possible playoff.
Big week for the boys. Big week for the East Tennessee boys.
Yeah. So Sergio's 178 on 18, hits it to stymie, 2 foot 4 inches, tap in, the game over. But yeah, like you said, big week for the boys. Malinotti, 18 under, second place alone, moves up to 7th in FedEx cut points, which is going to be great for him for this year. Obviously, it gives him an extension or a 2-year extension on status on the tour. Plus, moved him up about 150 spots in the world ranking to 200 and something. Stallings tied 6th, minus 14, moves up to 36 in the FedEx points. Another East Tennessee guy. The thing about Stallings, tied 6th, 14 under, birdie 3 of the last 4 coming in, 3 of the last 5 coming in. What we don't know is that Friday afternoon, guy shoots a 40 on the back 9. I mean, what could have been, right, Joe?
Yeah.
Shoots a 40 on the back 9 with 2 par 5s. He made four bogeys on par 4s. You got to think a guy like Scott's going to shoot 1 under, 2 under on the side that has 2 par 5s every time. I mean, what could have been? But anyway, still played good down the stretch. Came back after that. And played well on the weekend, tied 6th, moved up to 36, like I said, on the FedEx cut points. So, overall, we got to be happy with the week, regardless of fantasy or not. A couple of East Tennessee guys showing the Tennessee pride out there. Malinotti, though, however, Missouri grad, take one on the chin Saturday against the Big Orange in football. But anyway, on to that. Other than that, Joe, what do you think about the tournament? I mean, it was a good tournament.
It was a good tournament, man. Got a lot of things right again. One key thing wrong for me was Patrick Rogers, who forgot how to play golf on Thursday. Saw it from Sam Burns last week at Corrales a couple weeks ago. Forgot how to play golf for a round and took my lineups with him. And Patrick Rogers did the same thing this week on Thursday. Battled back on Friday, shot 68, but still couldn't get there. So Team Janos was struggling with Rogers. Cameron Davis was a guy we talked about on the show last week. Shared the 54-hole lead, played really well, had a T6. So, I felt like we got a lot of things right. If you go back and look at several of the guys we talked about, tons of made cuts in there, a lot of strong finishes. But, yeah, man, just kind of a repeating pattern for me of getting one key piece wrong. And for me last week, that was Patrick Rogers, who really let me down. Ton of 5 out of 6s last week.
Yeah, Patrick Rogers shot like 5 over on the front 9 or 5 over through 10 holes. He got it back to maybe 3 over the first day and then shot 4 under the second day or something. Does that sound about right? Missed the cut by 2, 1, something like that.
Yeah.
Whiffed on Stinson again. He might be headed to the list shortly. I just don't think he's playing competitive golf. I don't. With these guys at a certain age, you have to wonder, not is their game gone, but is their care gone at that point? Is the grind? It's all about the grind, getting in the dirt more than anything. So you got to put him in that category.
It's really weird with these veterans. We're seeing a couple of veterans play really well right now, who we'll probably talk about here in a little bit. But Stuart Sink and Zach Johnson are a couple of guys that immediately pop in my mind as veterans are playing well. We saw Sergio win. So it's almost like at different times we'll see a couple, 3 of these guys playing well, and the rest of them are kind of out to sea. And it feels like that's where Stinson is right now. Even though he was ultra competitive just a couple of years ago, he's not really been close this year. So you do have to wonder where his mind is with everything.
Yeah, Joe, back on the veterans, man. I thought I really might have snuck one in there with JB Holmes till he fired the little, 87 or 81 on Sunday. I was like, I got one right there on another veteran from the bottom, and then old boy shot him about 87. He's headed to retirement, I believe.
Yeah, man. We talked about last week. I respect people that want to go out on a limb and make some tough calls, which you do with JB, but I'm just not going to be there with him. But yeah, you might be right, man. It seems like he's playing a reduced schedule. Had some really tough outings lately, but you never know with him. He's just not a guy I'm ever going to be heavily invested in.
Yeah, I agree. So let's get into this week. And this week is the Shriners Hospital Children's Open, and this part of our show is brought to you by Thrive Fantasy. Come prop up with Thrive Fantasy this season. Thrive Fantasy is a daily fantasy sports app for player props. Thrive Fantasy has eliminated the need for countless hours of research because they only ask you about the top tier athletes in the respective sport. For golf, choose 5 of 10 player prop options to build your lineup. Each prop has a fantasy point total associated with the over and under based on the likelihood to occur. The more points the selection is worth, the riskier it is. Rack up the most points and to win a share of the prize pool. Also, for the PGA, they have Thursday events, Friday events, etc. That way, you ain't got to worry about somebody missing the cut and ruining your weekend. Thrive Fantasy has awarded $1.4 million since launching in 2018 and has a $50,000 guaranteed prize pool for the NFL every week. Use the promo code THETURN when signing up today, and you'll receive an instant $50, instant 100% match up to $50 on your first deposit. Download Thrive Fantasy at the App Store or Play Store by visiting their website, www.thrivefantasy.com, and sign up to #PropUp today. So, Shriners Hospital for Children's Open has been played for a number of years. I didn't even get the start date, but a number of years. It's played at the TPC at Summerlin in Las Vegas, Nevada. This event has been around, like I said, a lot of years. Tons of historic champions of this event. The course is played at now, Summerlin, designed in '91 by Bobby Weed. It's a great name, by the way, Bobby Weed. Had to be an art major in college. Bobby Weed. Bobby Weed, par set. They play as a par 71, 72.55, 8,000 feet above sea level, I believe, maybe. Therefore, the air's thinner. No humidity. The ball goes far. 72.55 is not long on a normal golf course, much less the ball goes a little further. So in saying that, these boys go low at the Summerlin. Low score is going to be seen at in this tournament. A lot of past champions in the field. 2-time winner Kevin Na. DeChambeau's won this event. Webb Simpson. Cantlay's couple runner-ups in the champion. Martin Laird is a past champion, and the old, like you said, dead stone cold nut, low ball, Smiley, can't break 84 Kaufman. Not even sure Smiley Kaufman could win the Labor Day scramble at Beaverbrook. Anyway, Smiley Kaufman from Alabama.
We'll take you on our team, Smiley. Come to K-Town, baby. We'll get you a spot.
So that's the breakdown for Shriners, Joe. Golf course, what do you want to start with that a little bit? Anything about the golf course you want to talk about?
Yeah, man. You touched on it. We're going to see a ton of birdies, especially by modern standards. Not really a long golf course. Got 3 par 5s, so that's something we always want to kind of keep in mind. They're all going to be reachable by most of these guys. There's a drivable par 4. But like you said, man, scores are going to be really low. The only thing I would point out is they're predicting really good weather Thursday and Friday, maybe a little bit of wind Saturday and Sunday. So that's something you might want to consider. Obviously, you got to get your guys through the cut Thursday and Friday. We're probably going to see a ton of birdies, but things could tighten up a little bit on the weekend. A few years ago, Patrick Cantlay won here at 9 under. That's about 10 shots tougher than we normally see. We normally see 18, 19, 20 under. So if that wind gets going over the weekend, that's something you might want to consider when you're building your rosters. But other than that, man, everybody in the field's in play. As you mentioned, Kevin Nas won here twice. Won here last year, so length isn't a prerequisite to win here. Obviously, it's going to help a little bit, but you don't have to be long. Really want to find great position off the tee. It's about angles. It's a second shot golf course. These greens are huge. They're easy to hit, but if you miss them, it's pretty tough to scramble. A lot of bunkers, tough to get up and down. So might want to give a little bit of weight to around the green. Greens are bent grass if you want to look at some putting splits. But yeah, man, other than that, nothing really exceptional. It's going to be a fun one. Got a really, really strong field, especially for a swing season event. These boys are going to play in Vegas again next week, a lot of them, in the CJ Cup at Shadow Creek, which is going to be fun. So we got a really strong field. Really excited to get into it. Tony Finau tested positive. We got to throw that out there. We just saw that news a little while ago. Tested positive for COVID-19, so he is out this week.
Yeah. Good field, good tournament. Like I said, historic tournament, been around for, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 years. Let's see here. Been around since, tournament's been around since 83. So, yeah, 37 years been around. So, good tournament, decently good field. I mean, there's a lot to be excited about this week as far as a fan is involved.
Yeah. And one quick shout out, man, for a guy that has been super supportive of me over the years and you in this show. Scott Stewart, our buddy on Twitter, Stewie. He's a huge supporter of the Shriners and the Shriners hospitals. So we want to give a shout out to Stewie this week on Shriners Week and say thank you for all your support. We love you, man, and appreciate everything you do for us with the retweets and stuff. So if any of you guys do any donating or charitable work, check out the Shriners Hospital for Stewie.
Absolutely. Shriners Hospital's got to be top 2 hospitals to support, top 2 nonprofits to support in this country. Easy. That and St. Jude's Hospital. So my granddad was pretty active in the Shriners himself back in the day. So I'm a little bit I've had my toe dipped into the Shriner. Know a little bit about them myself. So yeah, it's a great organization. I would also recommend anybody has a little extra cash, don't send it their way. Great. And Scotty also, man, yeah, appreciate the support of the show. So back to the tournament at hand. Let's just do you want to start at the top or you want to start who you like? Where you want to go with this?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think we got to start at the top. I think we got to talk about Bryson DeChambeau. It's going to be his first start since winning the U.S. Open. Looked absolutely dominant there. Kind of surprised us a little bit. He had been in poor form before that, but looked great at Winged Foot. This is going to be his first start since then, and he's won here before. Won here and has a T7 and a T4 kind of bookending the win. So, yeah, man, we definitely got to talk about him. One interesting thing is kind of something I've been thinking about this week, touched on in one of my articles for Rotoballer, is we've seen DeChambeau a couple times since the restart kind of struggle on some courses where he's won. He missed a cut at Muirfield, missed a cut at TPC Boston. Those are both courses where he'd won before. So you have to wonder how his new strategy is going to affect him here. Like we mentioned earlier, distance isn't a necessary here. It's more of a strategic type, precision type golf course. So you have to wonder, if maybe the change in his game will hurt him here. Actually, I think he's got a great chance to play well. He's one of the few guys in this field that can just run away with this thing if he's putting good. So yeah, man, I think you definitely have to consider Bryson, but I'm a little bit worried. Even though he's got great course history, I'm a little bit worried about how his kind of new style is going to translate here. Have you got any thoughts on Bryson this week? He's priced way up there.
Yeah, with the distance not playing a huge role in this course, I'm just not going to spend the money. That's the only thing with him. Yeah, he's played well here. Played here a few times. Let's see what I don't even look at tournament history.
Yeah, really good, man. T4 win, T7 the last 3 years.
There you go. Yeah, so played here
great here.
Yeah, played here 4 times. Had huge success. Yeah, I love his form over anybody's. The only person that really has a similar showing here is Cantlay. 3 times played here, first, second. However, his form has not been up to Cantlay's standards from the past. So, if I was choosing between the two of those, obviously leaving Webb out of this conversation, if I was having to choose between two of those, I might lean towards Cantlay just because he's so much cheaper. That's me anyway. I'm trying to find my extra dollars where I can. But and the other thing that really hold me back is that there's not distance doesn't play a huge role. And I wouldn't start my lineup with him, but I mean I would be also thought of moving on down to Matthew Wolff and Harris English too. I wouldn't start my lineup with either one of them, but for the money and it's all about getting your putter hot, right? I mean, if you're going to shoot 19 to 24 under on a tournament, it's all about getting the putter hot, right? So,
yeah, in a way, man, these things can kind of turn into a putting contest. You have to make so many birdies that you almost got to have a hot putter to win. So, we say that this guy's got to putt well or that guy's got to putt well. Well, anybody that's going to have a chance to win this thing is going to be putting well this week. And that's the thing with Bryson. If his putter is cooperating, I mean, he could dominate this thing. I mean, we've seen it before. We say distance doesn't play a huge factor. And obviously the shorter hitters can win here and play well here. This is one of the courses on the schedule that they legitimately have a great chance to win. But we also know that length's always an advantage. So if Bryson's putter's going, he can definitely win this week. Cantlay, like you said, man, not been in the greatest form. Only got one top 10 since the restart, which is kind of mind blowing for a guy of his quality. But this is a huge get right spot for him, man. He's played unbelievably well here. Got a win and 2 runner-up finishes and 3 career starts in this tournament. So I mean, if there's a spot for him to break out, it's here. I wish he was a little bit cheaper. I think his course history and kind of name recognition is what they've based this price on, not really his recent form. So it's kind of upsetting that he's still priced up there with a Webb and a Bryson. And the guy we hadn't talked about might be the best play of all of them, Webb, sitting there at 11. Has won here before, never missed a cut here. Has been playing extremely good golf. And he's tailor-made for this golf course, man. Hits it wonderfully straight off the tee. Great iron player, great around the greens. So Webb might be the best play of anybody up there at the top.
Yeah, I agree. I'm actually probably starting my lineups with Webb. Seems like these courses that are more tailor-made for him, that's where he's been playing well. So that's where I'm starting with him. Of those big 3, say since Finau's out, I'm starting there, and I'm not looking back. It seems like his putter is always hot, Joe. I don't know.
Yeah. Man, have you ever felt bad about rostering Webb Simpson? I mean, he's just one of those guys that you feel really comfortable playing. We don't see him this high always, but I mean, with Bryson, you feel like there's more upside there maybe to just absolutely dominate this thing. I mean, that's a possibility, but you could also see Bryson maybe come out a little bit flat. Maybe his game not translating well like it has in the past here. But with Webb, man, it's kind of one of those set it and forget it things. You got a real good feel he's probably gonna go out there and knock out a top 10 for you this week.
Absolutely.
So I'm right with you. I would feel great about starting my lineups really with any of these 3 guys up the top, but Webb especially. Then as you go down into the 9s, you got Matsuyama, who's played well here, but can't ever seem to put it all together. He worries me with his putter. And Morikawa is very, very interesting to me. I don't feel like a lot of people are talking about him this week. Hasn't looked great in his last couple outings. Missed the cut at the U.S. Open, but he's actually a Las Vegas resident. He's very familiar with this course. He's played Summerlin quite a bit. I think he was in like the top 15 here last year going into the final round, had a bad final round and really dropped. So that kind of makes his course history look worse than it really is. Very accurate off the tee. We know what kind of iron player he is. So Morikawa is a guy that I feel like maybe you could pivot to up here off some of these more popular guys. And then you mentioned Harris English and Matthew Wolff. Really love both those guys as well. Have you got a favorite there in kind of that high 9 range?
I like Wolff just because the guy it seems like he could shoot 60 on any golf course. So his streakiness, English, 19 to 21 events made the cut, 7 top 10s, stroke average 69.2. He really played well over the last 6 to 8 weeks. You gotta love him too. I'll be honest though, the guy inside of me really wants to put Jason Day in there over both of them just because of the putter. I don't like it. but I could go with any of those three in that nines.
Yeah, yeah, I really like Wolf. I like Wolf and Morikawa there quite a bit more than Hideki and English. It just feels kind of gross paying that price for English. He definitely deserves to be priced there if you look at his resume of late. And he's a great fit on this course. But man, it just feels kind of sick paying 9,700 for English. Wolf, I would almost argue is a little bit underpriced. I think you could almost flip flop he and Patrick Cantlay and nobody really bat an eye at it, just based on recent form. So I feel like Wolf is a really good value there, and I think you could pick two of these guys this week. There's enough options at the bottom, which we'll get to, that you can stick two 9K guys in there if you really love them. Moving down the scale, man, I think you have to look at Scotty Scheffler. Kind of knocked the rust off last week. He's a guy we know can make tons of birdies. Sung Jae, we know, was moving in the right direction. And then your boys there, the vets. We got Paul, Casey, Sergio, and Ricky right there. So which one of your guys are you going with this week?
I want to say Ricky. This course sets up perfect for him. Where if he gets the putter hot, he could shoot low. With ball striking, not going to be a huge combatant to the. I mean, they're going to probably finish in the top 15 if you win this event, but it kind of put you off Sergio, right? I mean, Sergio shot 3 under on the back, and he had to hit 2 shots in the leather to get to that. So I don't really know if I'll be rostering Sergio at all.
I won't be.
Yeah, yeah. Also, Casey, I'm not on him until he seems like he used to be like a guaranteed backdoor top 15, top 10 about every event, and it ain't there now. So
yeah, I agree, man. That's a pretty dead zone for me there with those guys. I mean, we know they're veterans, they're experienced, they're capable of playing well. Obviously Sergio's coming off a win, but this feels like a pretty dead zone for me there this week. I probably won't have any exposure to that area. Considering I really like the guys above them and like a lot of the guys below them. So, there's Louie and Kokrak there who have both been playing really good golf. They're guys we've talked about a lot on this show. Guys we talked about a lot prior to the U.S. Open, and both played well there. So I think they're guys you can consider. Zach Johnson's been playing well, which is kind of weird. One of those veterans who's kind of waking up. Nas won here twice, but a guy that I'm really interested in right there is Russell Henley. He's not teed it up in a while, kind of an out of sight, out of mind thing. I'm hoping he goes overlooked this week, but he finished out the season on fire, man. He went T9, T8, and a top 25 in his last start. And his irons have been absolutely unbelievable. He actually leads this field in strokes gained approach and strokes gained tee to green if we stretch back 24 rounds. Just been a while since he teed it up. So I'm very interested in Russell Henley there. And that low eights, man, those are my guys in there. We're getting into Henley, Zalatoris, Cameron Davis, who we were on last week. I think you can fire away with any of those guys. Do you have a favorite there in the low eights? That's guys that we've been on a lot here lately. Who are you thinking there?
Low eights. So like you said before, being off the mid-range guys, I'd much rather have a low 8 guy and a mid-9 guy than those low 9s, high 8s.
Yeah, I agree.
Doc Redmond, obviously. Keegan Bradley gets hot with the putter. Those are the ones that stick out. McCarthy, maybe. McCarthy's put together a pretty good year here, bud.
Yeah, we've talked about him a lot the last couple of weeks. I've rostered him the last 2 weeks. Not so great at Corrales, but he was really good last week, and I like him again this week, man. Like we said, if this thing does turn into kind of a putting contest, I mean, who would you rather have on your squad than Denny McCarthy, who's probably the best putter on the PGA Tour right now. He's played really well here the last couple of times out at TPC Summerlin. He's in good form, gained strokes on approach last week, which is not something he always does, but really like Denny. And just popping back up to that kind of that lower 8K range, man, I think there's a bunch of guys that you can look at right there. I didn't mention Neiman, but he's always on these tracks where you have to make birdies. I think he's always a guy you have to kind of consider there. Brian Harmon's been playing well and played well here. And then Sebastian Munoz, a guy you really like, who's playing solid golf, is in that range as well. So I think like you said, there's a lot of talent there, affordable talent. We've kind of been struggling in the mid range lately, finding guys we like, but there's a lot of them in that kind of mid 7K up to low 8K range that we can pair with some 9K guys if need be. So yeah, man, I'm really excited about rostering some guys from that price range.
Yeah. We didn't even mention Harold Varner. Doing pretty well. Done pretty well on shots gained approach. I just updated here to 24 rounds. So 24 rounds here. This is gonna blow you away. Norlander 8th. Scott shots gained approach. Ches Reavy. I love Ches Reavy and Brandon Steele in this field, boy. Low 70s, low 7s. What do you think about them two? Ches Reavy, Brandon Steele.
I can see it. I'll tell you another guy in there who's right down your lane, your boy Stuart Sink, man.
Oh yeah.
Looking at his numbers today, he's gained over 5 strokes on approach in his last 2 starts. He followed up that win at the Safeway with a really good outing last week at Sanderson. So, I mean, I think you can go to Stuart Sink there if you want to. Sam Burns is a guy that torched a lot of people last week, me included. But he might be a nice bounce back candidate. It's significant price drop. We have to figure his ownership's going to be lower as well. So I can get behind going back to Sam Burns. Aaron Wise is a guy that's got some Vegas ties. That's played good here. He played well in his last start. And maybe my favorite guy down here is not a guy a lot of people are probably going to fall in love with or know very well, but he's played really, really good golf. He's got 2 top 10s in his last 3 starts. Christopher Ventura, really good putter. College teammate of Hovland Wolf. We've talked about him on this show before. Feels like he's really underpriced at 7,100. And I'd also throw James Hahn there at 7 in that kind of that little mix of being underpriced. He's coming off 2 top 10s in his last 2 starts. Been injured, hadn't played in a while. He's looking really good. So I like those 2 guys a lot there in the low 7s. And as you go on down the 6s, man, there's even more guys to like. Who's popping out to you down there?
You talking about in the low 7s or when you get down?
Yeah, low 7s going into the 6s. Who sticks out for you?
Well, if I'm looking at tournament history, I'm gonna throw a bet out there. Las Vegas native Scott Piercy. He ranks about 10th or so, and he actually ranks ahead of Kevin Na. Kevin Na's missed the cut a few times here as of late, even though he's had a couple of top 5s. But Scott Piercy, I mean, he's probably played this golf course more than anybody. So that's in the field. So yeah, I like that. You can literally go out. Aaron Wise, like you said, course history looks good. Another a guy that I wouldn't. I'm not going to play, but you can throw him out there in Norlander. That's a guy you've been on for pretty much all year, along with another guy I'm going to throw out there that's in the low 6s, 6,000 actually. Wouldn't surprise me. He comes out and careers it and finishes 3rd place is Kevin Tway. There's nothing telling me that other than he's a bomber and makes birdies in streaks. And, when he plays well, it seems like he finishes top 5. And when he doesn't, he misses the cut. So he might be somebody you could dab in if you're going to do a stars and scrubs kind of thing.
Yeah. There's several guys to lock down there, man. A guy that I really wanted to talk about for just a second down there is at 6,200, kind of a wild card play this week. Spencer and I from Rotoballer are actually kind of chatting back and forth about him. Is Justin Sue. He's at 6,200, and he was in the Hovland Morikawa Wolf class. He was actually right there with those guys. He was the number 1 ranked amateur for quite a while. He played golf at USC. Had a wrist injury right when he turned pro, so he's really struggled with that. But he's kind of finding his way. He reunited with his college coach during the COVID kind of lockdown. Kind of got back on track after reconnecting with him. And another interesting thing about Justin Sue, when he graduated college, he moved to Vegas. And where did he practice all the time? TPC Summerlin, this course, baby. So Justin Sue, he's logged 2 top 25s in his last 2 starts. So he's rounding into form. Good little dart throw down there at 6,200 you might want to look at.
There you go. So who's your, I guess, is that your kind of like your dark horse out of the box, nobody's thinking about play?
Yeah, that's kind of my guy. I would also, we didn't really get to touch on the mid-sixes too much, but Malnati I really like. We're kind of homers for him. He's an East Tennessee guy, but we've seen him play well in bunches when he gets going. So I could definitely see him playing well here this week. This is kind of his type of, don't have to be real long type of course. So Malnati's a guy you can look at. You can go back to Adam Shank, who's played well here, who we've had some success with, making cuts for us. And another guy down there who's been on absolute fire just out of nowhere is Tyler McCumber, who has a runner-up and a T6 in his last 2 starts on the heels of missing 7 straight cuts. So I don't know really where it's coming from, but if you want to just try to ride the hot hand this week, you might look at McCumber down there.
There you go. My dark horse. If I'm
Man, there's so many good Andrew guys in this field.
I know.
This field is full of Andrew guys. I can't wait to hear who you're going with.
Well, I'm gonna throw a couple names out there for different reasons. I love Brandon Steele because whenever he, whenever he, not saying when he plays well, but whenever he is competing in a tournament that fits his game, it's like the guy shoots like 10 under in a round or something, and this golf course fits into that style. Reachable par 5s, reachable par 4, gets the putter hot. He can do it. He really stacks up, shots gained approach last 24 rounds, second, around the green 71st, so not great. But if he puts average, which is what he's been doing, he's 48th in the last 24 rounds, strokes gained putting. If he puts average, he ranks second in the field. So saying that, I'm gonna throw a dark horse that's gonna make you just throw up. Okay. If the guy can putt average, I'm guaranteeing a top 10, maybe guaranteeing a top 5. You're gonna hate this. Jason Duffner is probably gonna hit 68 greens this tournament. So if he can have like, I don't know, 25 1-putts and 72 holes with no 3-putts, he'll win the tournament.
Duff Daddy. Well, that is a call, my friend. That is a call.
6,400. There's a lot of other plays you can get on. Keegan Bradley can go low. Matty Wolf, like you said. Ches Reavie, of course, sets up perfect for him. Brandon Steele sets up perfect. Russell Henley. Scott Stallings even. Strokes gained approach, played well. Putting decent again. He doesn't have the big bad – the bad 6 to 12 holes in a tournament. He's going to be in tournaments. That every week with him. So,
I agree, man. I think there's so many different ways you can go this week, which we've hit on a ton of guys, but I think it's the week that we needed to do that. Some weeks we're a little more focused in on certain guys, but this is one of those weeks, man. Every week in PGA is different. A couple of weeks ago at Corrales, we were Googling guys trying to figure out who they were, and names that I couldn't pronounce, trying to get you guys some plays. And this week's kind of the opposite, man. There's so many good plays, guys that you would feel good about rostering it all up and down the salary scale. So I think the biggest obstacle you're going to have this week is actually narrowing down your player pool, because there's so many guys that you feel like could play well here. And this course really doesn't discount anybody as far as short hitters can play well here, bombers can play well here, great putters can play well here, great iron players can play well here. So anybody can win on this course. A lot of times we can knock out a good chunk of the field because we don't feel like they're a good course fit, but that's not really the case this week. Couple that with a really strong field, and it's going to be tough narrowing it down this week, man.
Absolutely. I'm having a hard trouble knocking it down to 50. And, you really want to get it down under 30 every week, the people you kind of might want to throw in there. So I agree with that 100%. This is going to be a great tournament, very entertaining. Should see a great leaderboard. And that's everything I got, Joe. How about you?
Yeah, me too, man. I think it's going to be really fun. I think there's lots of different ways you can go this week. Totally would understand if you do want to go to the top to Webb or Bryson or Cantlay. Fingernails out, he was going to be kind of my lock button play of the week, so I'm going to have to rework some things here in the next day or two. But totally understand if you want to start with those guys, and there's some quality down there that lets you go stars and scrubs. And there's also a really bunch of good players in the mid range, so you can go balanced. It's kind of just preference this week. Dig in, do your research, hit up Rotoballer, check that research station out, read all our articles. You might find some little nuggets there that get you on a guy that maybe you weren't looking at. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a really fun week. I'm excited for this one.
Me too, brother. That's all I got too, and I got kids yelling for me, and mama's feeding baby, and I got one right here about to jump in on the show. So,
all right,
buddy.
Put
We'll talk next week.
Let's go. See you, man.
My closest, dearest friends, I decided that I'd give it one good try. That was my first big mistake. I've already hit 3 in the lake. It's gonna dry.